You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Dares of Our Lives fans. This is Soap Dirt at YouTube, and we have got your latest Days of Our Lives recap. This is for Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. We are going to see Harris facing off with Beau. We are going to see Hope asking questions, Creston betraying her sister Megan already, and then, of course, we are going to see Thomas Banks. But the big news is Chloe stabs Xander, and that might put a little dimmer on their growing friendship. So let's dig into this. One of the big scenes in today's episode is Chad and Stephanie facing off with Thomas Banks. They had come to this warehouse and they confront him about kidnapping Kayla, and he doesn't like this at all because he said he didn't do it. And then while trying to calm him down, when Thomas says he's got an itchy trigger finger, they offer condolences on the loss of his sister. And at first, Thomas thinks that they're talking about Sister Mary Mora, and he's not so sad about that because the nun was always harshing his vibe. But then when they tell him Susan Banks died, he is stunned and calls it mean. And then they get the drop on him when Chad offers a handkerchief because Thomas is upset, and he throws it at him, and then they wrestle for the gun, and Thomas is shot in the ear. And then they drag a bleeding Thomas to the police station and hand him over to a police officer that earlier had been talking to Hope Brady. So now let's backtrack and talk about this Hope interaction. Remember, everybody split up and went a different way on Monday's Days of Our Lives. Harris had gone out to the farmhouse to look at that piece of Victor Kiriakis' property, and Chad and Stephanie had gone to this warehouse, and then Hope had gone to the police station. So she is grilling the cop. This is the one who had released the prisms to Beau, thinking he was Shane Donovan, and who saw Steve get dragged away. So Hope is asking for a description, and he's like, average sized guy, brunette, middle-aged, nothing helpful. And then they check out the security footage, and they see that it has been erased. So then the cop tells her that Steve was mumbling something about it not being Shane, and of course she knows it wasn't Shane because she showed him the picture. And in the end, he doesn't have anything to offer her, and she takes off. And then that's when Chad and Stephanie show up with Thomas in tow. There's also scenes coming with Harris and Beau. So Harris has knocked on the door, and Beau answers, and Harris immediately recognizes this guy, and he says they have a mutual acquaintance in Megan. And so Harris and Beau talk about what Megan did to them and how she used the prisms to bring Beau back to life, how she was basically mind controlling them both. And Beau lies to Harris pretty convincingly about Steve and Kayla not being there, and he said he just left his sister on the island. Harris isn't sure, and he asks why, and Beau said, I got stuff to do. Anyway, Harris tells him that he's going to, go back and tell Hope. And Beau says, well, that's a dumb idea because I know you're into her. I know you have this blossoming romance. Why would you ruin that by telling her that I'm alive? And so he had pulled a gun at one point and then said he's not going to shoot a hero, which talking back before Megan got a hold of Harris when he actually was a hero in the military. And they make a gentleman's agreement that they are not going to let Hope know that he's alive, and they shake on it, and he leaves. Then back at the hotel room, Hope talks to him and tells him what she found and that the footage was erased. So Harris knows that she didn't see Beau on that security footage. And then she asks him about the farm, and he has a moment and he thinks about it. And then he finally just says it was deserted. So he is sticking to his agreement with Beau for Hope not to find out yet. So that is a huge deal. Over at Statesville Prison, we've got some sister bonding and then some sister betrayal. Kristen has pretty much figured out from talking to Megan that Beau is alive. And after the conversation, she called Brady and was basically trying to lure him down there. And she wanted a visit from him and her daughter in exchange for the information. After she gets off the phone with him, then Megan comes out and confronts her. Megan tells her that she put her cellmate into the infirmary by beating her. And basically Megan is threatening her younger sister. And she also asks her about, why could you betray betray me in this way just for this one measly little thing from Brady? You know, if you're going to sell me out, why would you do it for something so small? So in the end, Kristen definitely thinks about it. And then when Brady actually shows up at Statesville, she backs off and just says, you know, I was wrong. It probably was just Thomas. So of course that leaves Brady frustrated. And we also have to wonder if he believes this or if he thinks she's lying again. Now, the big fun stuff on Tuesday's episode was the interactions between Xander Cook and Chloe Lane. And this is fun stuff. So she is in the park and getting ready to eat a breakfast biscuit. And Xander comes up and like pushes it away. And then when she persists in trying to eat it, he finally just slaps it completely out of her hand. And it's so funny. And then he tells her that if you're eating these biscuits, you're going to end up in the emergency room seeing hallucinations. And so she thanks him sincerely, and he takes her out to lunch since he slapped her breakfast out of her hand. They are over at the Brady pub and they start playing another dart game. Now we're going to pause real quick. Click that subscribe button below so that you get all the latest Days of Our Lives spoilers, news, and recaps here from Soap Dirt on YouTube. Okay, so now back to Xander and Chloe. She tells him that she has been researching dart playing methods online because he beat her so soundly before. And then they decide to play another dart game, and she is doing her dart mojo thing, and she throws it, and guess where it lands? In one of his big pectoral muscles. So he's got a dart right on his left side, right above his heart, and they're debating what to do about it. He's scared for her to pull it out because if she hit an artery, he could bleed out. And so they head over to University Hospital. She leaves the room and he strips off, and then they put a bandage over his hairy pack, and she comes back in and she feels really, really bad. But he teases her about it, and then he wonders if her throwing the dart at his chest was revenge for when he grabbed her up into that kiss, the one she called him a pig for. And they laugh it off, and they agree to have another darts rematch if she plays with her eyes open this time instead of closed, because he does not want to get stabbed again. It's really cute. I'm liking the vibe between them. And so that is the two big takeaways. 2 or 3 big takeaways from this is that Kristen has decided not to betray Megan. Hope has been betrayed by Harris because he's keeping the secret of Beau. And Xander and Chloe have one more bonding moment. Don't miss a moment. Stay tuned here to Soap Dirt on YouTube for more on Days of Our Lives.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.